All right, topic number 2. The Washington Commanders have a lot going on right now. Von Miller's coming in. Terry McLaurin's situation is still in flux. And the Terry McLaurin situation, teams have called and teams will continue to check in. That's standard operating procedure in the NFL. Teams will check in when a player like this has a contract situation like this. I just don't anticipate that the Commanders would move off of Terry McLaurin. I just look at everything that, and this is just me talking. I look at everything that Dan Quinn was trying to establish over his first year and how Terry McLaurin was perfect for it. And this is a guy who was, when he was at Ohio State, one of the best special teams players that they had before he became a great receiver, and a guy who became a captain as a rookie. And that's really hard to do if you're not a quarterback, but became a captain as a rookie under Ron Rivera. This guy represents everything that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters have been trying to build over the last 18 months. The problem is there hasn't been a lot of dialogue over the last month. I would think in the coming days, the talk is going to pick up. I know Terry McLaurin's frustrated, rightfully so. He's poured a ton into that franchise. He's endured a lot, and he did a lot for the team last year. So he has every right to be frustrated that these talks really haven't gone anywhere. There haven't been talks at all, really, over the last month. But, there is still time to get something done. And I just think in the end, with McLaurin and the Commanders, it's just too good a fit for either side to walk away from. I understand why the Commanders would be a little hesitant given Terry McLaurin's age. People don't realize he's a little older because he was a 5-year college guy, so he's in his 30s now. I can understand where you want to be a little careful about how you pay a guy who is now in his 30s. I understand where Terry McLaurin would be really upset with the way the team has handled this, that they wouldn't move more aggressively towards getting something done. But I do think the Garrett Wilson deal can clarify some things as far as where the team is, where the player is. It's another receiver now who's making in the 30s from an APY perspective. It's different because he's younger, but it does clarify the market a little bit more on where you have to pay these guys. And I just look at the Commanders' moves, over the course of the last 6 months and what they've done, really the last 9 months, going back to Marshawn Lattimore before the trade deadline and bringing in Marshawn Lattimore and Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil and really trying to take advantage of the window that you're in with Jaden Daniels on a rookie contract. I think they're going to find a way to get something done. It's got to be in the 30s. Again, I understand you have to be careful if you're the team, but they've already leaned in on some older players. So it's not like this would be the first time they're doing it. And for McLaurin, I just view it from his perspective. He really likes it there. He's poured too much into the franchise. I know he really takes a lot of pride in being a one-team guy. I think there's too much mutual interest not to get something done. Now, that brings us to the Von Miller move, which I think needs to be digested in the right context. I think what Adam Peters and Dan Quinn have done in building up the premium positions on that roster is phenomenal. You draft Jaden Daniels to be your quarterback. Maybe that fell in your lap a little bit, but you do get that one right. You have Terry McLaurin at receiver. You add Deebo Samuel there. You trade for Marshawn Lattimore at corner. You add Mikey Sandersill in the draft. At tackle, you drafted Brandon Coleman last year. Now he's functional at left tackle. You move him inside. You trade for Laramie Tunsil to replace him. You draft Josh Connerly to be the tackle on the right side. You've taken care of really, I'd say almost all of the premium positions now, where you're not only functional, you're pretty good at all the premium positions, except for edge rusher. And so to me, the signing of Von Miller is addressing the edge rusher issue, but it doesn't fix it completely, because I think what the Bills found over the last couple of years with Von Miller at his age, to really get the most out of him, you've got to use him less. And that's what Buffalo did the last couple of years. They scaled down what they were asking of him so they could get the most out of him when he was on the field. So at best, if this is working at its highest level, you've got a rotation of defensive ends, and Von Miller's coming in there on third down, and he's still got the juice because he's only playing 30 or 40% of the snaps. You have him really as a specialist. If he's in that role, I love the idea of it because I do think that he can still bring something to the table, but he can't be a 70 or 80% of the snaps guy. I think that they got to, again, kind of lean into what they already have at the position, which isn't phenomenal, but they do have good vets like Dorrance Armstrong at the position, and use Von Miller judiciously.